position against this disgusting attack on the people of Gaza. We need mass struggle for liberation. Come and hear the Socialist Party speakers put forward a programme for the struggle. First up to speak today in our meeting is Hannah Sell, Deputy General Secretary of the Socialist Party. Well, despite the freezing cold, we think that today we're going to have a massive demonstration. More than 100,000 people are heading to London from coaches all over the country to demonstrate against the terrible destruction that is taking place in Gaza.
Thank you!
1.5 million people crammed into a prison camp without food or without enough food, suffering from malnutrition, without fuel, and now being bombed and killed in their thousands. We're here to demonstrate against that. How can we stop it? We cannot have any trust in the world powers to stop what is taking place in Gaza. The US and the Bush regime back Israel to the hilt. That is clear.
Stop the war! 5, 6, 7, 8.
Organise and demonstrate. It's also clear that none of the other world powers are prepared to do anything to stop what is taking place in Gaza. Yes, they have now belatedly passed a resolution calling for a ceasefire, but what does it mean? Our government, Brown, equates Hamas's bombings, the rockets which are fired, which while as socialists we don't think that is the best tactic, but those rockets have killed a tiny number of people compared to almost 1,000 that have been killed by the onslaught from the Israeli regime. But as far as Brown's concerned, there is no difference between the two. He equates the two. Destruction that is taking place is by relying on ordinary working class people in Britain and throughout the world. We need to build a mass movement of working class people around the world in order to stop what is taking place in Gaza. The mind of the war has been unleashed on the Palestinian people, and who cannot be moved? Who could not feel angry and enraged at the scenes of Palestinian mothers and fathers carrying their dead and injured children to hospitals, or the scenes of bombs landing on houses where the Israeli army told them to go to, and then returning a few days later to find children wandering around next to the corpses of their dead parents. This is the terror. This is the state terror of the Israeli government and the Israeli army that has been unleashed on the Palestinian people. And that is why hundreds of thousands of people have marched around the world saying, end the slaughter, get the Israeli army out of Palestine and allow the Palestinians to live in peace and security. How dare the Israeli state take it upon itself to decide whether or not the Palestinians have electricity, whether or not the Palestinians have food or have water. There was already a humanitarian crisis before the Israeli army went in. There was already malnutrition and suffering beyond anybody's imagination. And where can the Palestinians go when the bombing starts? The area of Gaza is smaller than the Isle of Wight, and yet 1.5 million people live on a piece of land that is only 27 miles long and 7 miles wide. When the bombing starts, they have nowhere to go, they have nowhere to run, and they are sitting targets for the might of the Israeli
of Gaza!
End the siege now!
IDF!
Get off Gaza!
IDF!
We're protesting today against the war waged for the most cynical of motives. A war waged by the Israeli government to try and recover its prestige. A war to try and buy an election with Palestinian bodies and Palestinian blood.
IDF!
Get off Gaza!
IDF!
Get off Gaza!
IDF!
Get off Gaza!
Ehud Olmert!
Blood on your hands!
Ehud Olmert!
Blood on your hands!
Ehud Olmert!
Blood on your hands!
Tony Blair!
Blood on your hands!
Gordon Brown!
Blood on your hands!
Gordon Brown!
Blood on your hands!
George Bush!
Blood on your hands!
The Palestinian masses must rise up and organise themselves to defend their communities. Every Palestinian must participate democratically in the struggle. And the Egyptian masses, alongside Palestine, must rise up and say no to their rulers, to say no to the dictator ruling Egypt, to Mubarak, and force open the Rafah crossing to let in supplies, to let in aid, to let in relief. And the Israeli masses too, they must rise up and punish the murderous rulers, the capitalist politicians that have unleashed this war, this horror on the Middle East yet again. The solution, comrades, is not with the UN, it's not with Gordon Brown. The silence from Obama is deafening. The solution is with ordinary people here and in the Middle East. We've got to organise, get involved in the Socialist Party and its activities to fight against war, occupation and capitalism.
End the siege of Gaza!
End the siege now!
End the siege of Gaza!
End the siege now!
Stop the slaughter! Stop the slaughter! Stop the slaughter! Stop the slaughter!
In Gaza!
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 My name's Amnon. I'm a member of the Socialist Party and also was spent many years as a socialist activist in Israel in Ma'avak Socialisti. The liberation of the Palestinian masses will not come from the United Nations. It will not come from the Arab leaders who have sold out the struggle, who are actually collaborating with America. What is necessary is mass action in Palestine, mass action in Egypt, mass action across the Middle East, mass action in Israel against all the capitalist regimes. The Mubarak regime is complicit in imprisoning the Palestinian masses by keeping the Gaza border closed. In order to defeat the Israeli state, we need to defeat Mubarak. We need to defeat King Abdullah. We need revolution right throughout the Middle East. It is only the socialist revolution which can unite Palestinians, Palestinians of all and no religion, can unite workers across the Middle East, can unite Israeli workers. All workers across the Middle East have the same interest. All workers need homes, all workers need jobs, all workers need decent living standards. Capitalism has proved itself and all workers need peace and security. Capitalism has shown itself incapable of providing any of these things. Working people across the Middle East, across Europe, across the world need to take their future into their hands, need to organise, need to mobilise, need to overthrow the capitalist regimes which offer them no future. This is the only way to end the bloodshed. This is the only way to end a siege. Join us in a struggle for socialism internationally.